And I say, Meg Ryan's spirit moved through my body. When I get on the phone with my brother and he says, that is not reality. And he stretches it out and says, that is not reality. Welcome to Bipolar She. I'm your host, Janine Noel. Bipolar She is a storytelling podcast about living with mental illness. The content of the show may include stories of suicidal ideation and suicide. At the show's website, bipolarshe.com, I've listed ways to find support. If you ever need immediate help, please dial 988, a suicide and crisis lifeline. I believe in the healing power of writing and speaking about our darkest of days in raw detail. So let's go.
So I'm JD, and we're back with Janine to continue our discussion. Can you remind me where we left off?
Sure. I had just graduated from Dartmouth.
Yay!
That was 1995.
Okay.
And then I moved down to New York City to be an actor. Gotta
All right.
remind you of that one.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be an actor.
And so wait, what was going on with you mentally at this point?
I was doing really well.
Okay.
I have to say, when I first went on all those medications, I really felt like myself. I had no glimmers or anything of illness after I took that medication. I was just at that point, an antidepressant. But for all I know, that was like the distant past. It wasn't a part of me. So I wasn't even thinking it was that much a part of me. I knew I had to go to therapy and I was good about doing that, but I really thought it was a one-time thing. I think people wanted to believe that too. I think I went to New York. I know that I felt a bit of the baggage of it that I didn't want people to know. And there certainly was that feeling, I don't know a better word for it, but shame. Mm-hmm. And I did carry that around. And sometimes I would look at things. I had these headshots done after my first hospitalization, not too far after. And I look at it and go, gosh, are those my eyes? Do they look a little funny? Can someone see this illness on me? On the other hand, I could throw my hair up in a ponytail and I think just disappear into a sea of very average girls. So the first few times this happened, it was easy to disconnect from it because I felt so strongly myself. And so I was doing pretty well. I went through a breakup. It got a little stressful in New York City. And but I was happy. I was in an acting class. And we had a showcase coming up. And
wait, what is a showcase?
An acting showcase. So basically, when you finish this program that I was in, it's an opportunity to invite agents and casting directors to come out and see you perform.
Oh, I see.
So there's lots of pressure because there could be industry people in the audience. And I was so excited for that. I had some little baby successes while I was in New York.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't terrible. I was learning, and I had student films. I had met with the casting director of All My Children, and that went really well. And I was an extra on that. I was just hoping with all my heart to get some lines at some point.
Okay.
And yeah, it was indie films. And when I look back, I'm not terrible.
Right.
And I really loved it. I loved it for all the real good, honest reasons. The craft of it. I mean, I wasn't just starstruck.
Right.
I acted as a kid. This was, celebrity. Yeah, that was exciting if it came with craft.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't, these dreams I had, they weren't totally about being famous and celebrity. I wanted to be just a good actor.
And it sounds like you were a pretty decent actor at that time.
Yeah, I was kind of self-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too surprising, right? And I definitely had trouble totally like being in my body. It was awkward to me. Like there was this love scene I had to do. I remember in acting class,
Uh-huh.
and I had to like get up and hold my boyfriend, and we're like passionately kissing and making out. And the director comes up and he's like, "Hey, get out of here." And I get off stage, and he goes in to like kiss this guy, and he sticks his ass out, and he's like, "Get your hips in there."
Right.
So I like press my hips in there, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is a different kind of acting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn, but I was just a little disconnected,
Right.
not comfortable in my body, not that comfortable with sex.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be as an actor.
Right. You have to be willing to go there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like in New York, things were stressful, but it was kind of the normal stress of a young person, in the business trying to make it and hustling. But it wasn't a dangerous kind of stress where you were off the rails.
No. For a while, it was just really enthusiasm. But when this talent showcase came up, I got so excited, and I put all my energy into it, not just rehearsing, but it was doing these mailings. We'd send our headshots out,
Mm-hmm.
postcards. There was just all this stuff to do. And so I was up late doing that. I would meet friends at a diner, and I just felt tons of energy. I'd rehearse late, and it just, this is the tough part. It just felt like I was in love with something and putting my whole heart and soul into it. And I remember in the scene that I was given this young woman who has magical thinking and thinks that her dead brother will come back if she does X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And our acting coach said that he chose the scenes for us, something close to us. I didn't think he saw me as someone with magical thinking or delusional thinking. I just thought she was a great character.
Right.
Now, when I step back from it, I go, okay, maybe he knew I was a little bit of a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
There is some little bit of illness lingering around,
Right.
And so, but still, I thought I was incredible. And I started to think I was even better and better coming up to this showcase. I thought I was so good one night when we were rehearsing with him, because I looked up and he like touched his eye, like as if he was crying. And I thought, oh my God, I made my acting coach cry. I am the best.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At the same time, I had heard a casting director actually say women are too medicated. Actresses are too medicated these days. They need to have their emotions at their fingertips. And so I wanted to be really, really, really good. I needed to be the best. So I stopped my antidepressant.
Oh.
And it just tipped me a little out of probably hypomania, where you're just kind of revved up. And
hypo means below, right? So hypomania means just like a step below full-on mania, right?
Yes, a step below. And some people can operate there and be okay and not even need medicine or just do fine on one thing like lithium. But for me, I had never experienced hypomania before, so I just thought I was enthusiastic.
Sure.
And I guess it all changed one night. It was only 3 nights actually off this medicine. And I went to a friend's party and there were filmmakers there. And I got very nervous about it, but also very excited. And I ended up leaving that party, and then just the world kind of changed. It was summer, it was dewy, and I just felt like I stepped into this different world when I left that party. And I went home. I think I walked. It was like I could have walked from the West Village all the way up to like 45th. and which is dangerous.
Yeah, it is in New York.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was doing that. I was doing some dangerous things too. I started like wearing my costume, a really skimpy costume around town and getting on the subway and
Really?
yeah. So I was doing that, kind of little dangerous things. I remember I had an audition in Coney Island. I went all the way out there. And it was literally like a loft with this one light bulb and like a weird man on his couch.
Oh my God.
And I probably walked in and was like, oh, hi, I'm here for the audition. I don't even think I turned around and ran.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have, those instincts.
I mean, you're lucky nothing terrible happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these little things are going on. After this party, I get home and I go to bed. And I'm just tossing and turning in my bed all night. I'm sweating and I can't figure it out. It feels like evil spirits are like coursing through my body. And I'm like arching my back and spastic and I feel it through my body. Like all these sensations. I feel like energy through my fingertips. I feel my muscles contract. It's a very physical thing.
Sure.
I don't know what the hell it is. What is going on with me? And so I wake up really early that morning and I call a friend to come because a spirit's moved through my body. And so a friend comes here to my house and she says, so what is going on? And I said, a spirit moved through my body. She said, okay, whose spirit moved through your body? And I say, Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan's spirit moved through my body.
Meg Ryan, the actress from Harry Met Sally, the cute girl from the night. She was the cute one from the 90s, right? The 80s, 90s?
Yeah. And my talent manager would send me out on auditions and she would tell me to be absolutely adorable, just like Meg Ryan. I mean, she was huge at that point. And yeah, her name would come up. Absolutely. And my friend's looking at me like, what? And then I'm thinking, oh my God, if her spirits move through me, did she die? Did I kill her? Like, what's going on?
Oh, wow.
And anyways, a couple of friends came. They called my therapist, who was really rude, actually, on an early Saturday morning.
Oh.
She was super mean. I had never called her for anything out of,
was this
the
the
ordinary.
same one from Dartmouth or the different therapist?
Different therapist.
Okay.
They're like, God, she was mean. And anyways, they get me to a hospital in New York.
Okay.
And I'm in the ER. And I remember they call my brother. I don't know why. He's the one that they get in touch with. But they call my brother. My brother is in a residency in Oregon as a doctor. He's probably at his hospital. And they're like, we have him on the phone for you. And I get on the phone with my brother and he says, listen to the nurses. And I think I say, well, I'm making my Academy Award-winning film. And he says, that is not reality. And he stretches it out and says, that is not reality. That's how I heard it. And I wanted to explain, I know I'm not right now making my Academy Award-winning film. I know I'm in a hospital. I get that, but I'm getting closer to it.
Right.
And I know enough not to say that the spirit of Meg Ryan moved through my body. I know enough not to say that. But just this idea of reality and whose reality is whose reality. Anyways, they throw me in an ambulance and take me up to a hospital in White Plains. And it's a tough hospitalization. I still think I'm going to get back to my showcase. Right now, it's like 2 days away.
Okay.
And when they sign me in, I'm like, I have my showcase. They're like, you can worry about that later. I have my showcase. And before I knew it, I was on medication and I wasn't thinking about the showcase anymore at that point. But it was another moment like leaving Dartmouth, knowing I'm no longer part of that. And then leaving these actor friends in the theater feeling, oh shit, I'm no longer that either.
Oh, that's really sad. Like each time you try to find a place for yourself and then you end up in exile again, leaving behind that world.
Yeah. And so by then I feel like I'm carrying two burdens. I have the failure of Dartmouth and the failure of New York on my shoulder. And can people see that? Can they see all these failures so far? I also think something that has always frustrated me is because I failed in New York, people think that everything that happened in New York was a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, when there's a big loss or I didn't do well or I crashed, I feel like any efforts that I made were just completely wiped away.
Right.
If nobody saw the small films I was in or the small productions, did they exist? No, not necessarily. I had a bad time in New York, and that's who I am, someone that didn't accomplish anything and got sick in New York.
But it's not that simple, right? There were some good times and there were some successes, and you did learn some things and probably made friends and met some cool people.
Yeah, but I think that for me, this is actually, I totally left this out. It's like the most important part of our conversation. So in New York, that's where they diagnosed me as bipolar.
Oh, okay. Wait, where was this?
This is in that hospital.
In White Plains?
In White Plains, in the hospital. I think they put me on lithium for a bit. They try some other medications. And finally they say, okay, you've had hypomania and mania. This is bipolar.
Okay.
People could go in and judge me for stopping my medication. And I feel like people close to me did judge me for that. Because it's notoriously dangerous to stop and start or stop very suddenly.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. There's blame with this illness too, but they were able to say, okay, this wasn't just major depression with psychosis. I flipped into mania. If the medication caused that, I had doctors say that I would have gotten there probably anyway.
Okay. Right.
Even if I hadn't done that. So that's when I was diagnosed as bipolar, which is important for this show, I think.
Was it all empowering, or did it feel good to have a name for it, or you just didn't understand it? Like, what did it feel like when they told you that?
I don't know. It kind of comes to you. No one really sat down and said that. They just put me on the medication, and then you see your form when you leave.
Right.
Has a diagnostic code on it. But it didn't feel, I don't know, it didn't feel like the label or what was wrong with me changed.
Right.
It was just different. But there's this idea, I think, when you have mental illness that you have to do everything right. And if you're doing everything right, an episode or something won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing your therapist and you're taking your medication and you're doing it all right, you're doing your illness right, that it won't crop up. The second you miss something or you don't do something, there's people are going to look for a way to kind of blame it on you.
Right, sure.
Thinking that if you do everything right, your mind will stay healthy. And it doesn't necessarily stay healthy. It can flip into another universe even when you're doing it right. So for me, I've always just felt like you get judged as how you handle these disorders. And that's pretty painful.
So did you do the showcase or no?
I missed the showcase.
Oh, no.
I missed the showcase. When I got back and listened to my voicemail, the casting director from All My Children had called to get me in for a bigger audition. So I lost that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
Yeah. I did lose it all. I went home and I decided to go back and do it again.
Well, you're stubborn. You were determined.
So I packed a big green duffel bag and I headed off to New York City, and I actually started acting again. I found a therapist who thought it was a good idea for me to be an actress, or she
Right.
agreed with me after everybody told me I shouldn't. I mean, my acting coach said, be open to some other dreams.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Another therapist said, don't ever do acting. You need structure and routine. You cannot be an actress. But I go back and I find a therapist who supports me as an actress. And it was really kind and wonderful. And I got going again. And I was sent out on a film. I knew Hugh Jackman was in it. It was called Kate and Leopold. I didn't know that much about it. I knew he was in it. And so I go and I'm just a glorified extra. And I play a makeup artist. And I look out the corner of my eye and Meg Ryan is on the set with me.
Oh.
And I look at her and I go, oh my God, everything's going to be okay. Meg Ryan knows everything's going to be okay.
Starting to seem like a little bit delusional again.
But I wasn't. I was just hopeful.
Okay.
So I had some little delusions.
Right.
But I'll just call them hope.
Sure. And so what happened then at that point? You're back in New York. It sounds like, are you on better medication right now at this point?
Yeah, I'm on a mood stabilizer and an antidepressant at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So I did it. I can look at film at that time and see I'm kind of like puffy, a little more acne on my face. I mean, but I pushed myself to do it.
Sure.
And I did get happy again. But then I got sick with an autoimmune disorder. And that's actually why I left New York.
Oh, no. Just when you were kind of getting your footing.
Yeah, I was proud of myself for going back. So I went back to Dartmouth. I went back to New York. That was the important part, was to return.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, you've been a fighter. You've continued to persist.
I can't agree that I'm a fighter. I've just, you know what I mean? I've just survived. I don't know if it's fighting.
Okay, how about the fact that you're persistent? Maybe we'll agree on that.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to ask one more thing. So what is this Meg Ryan thing? Do you think you have some kind of soul connection to Meg Ryan?
No, I didn't think much past it after I saw her at that, shooting that film. It was a obsession that came and went.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything I really carried with me. But, I mean, it's a good sign, right?
Yeah, I mean, she smiled at you, right? She never smiled at me.
I know. And this is the part, I always say, my little delusions are kind of cute. But then there's,
the devil.
There's the devil, and the other people can be obsessed about celebrities, and stalk them.
Yeah.
So my brain just happened to have a more mild obsession with a celebrity.
It's almost like these delusions are a way of making us, I was going to say making sense of the world, but it's almost like making a story out of things. Oh, this was meant to happen, or, everything is happening for a reason. It's almost like trying to create a narrative,
Yeah, I think so.
And in a way, what's wrong with that? I could see that being kind of cool. Oh, wow, here's Meg Ryan looking at me. I knew this was all meant to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. As actors, we're told to, believe that we are actors. Mm-hmm. And I remember my acting coach said, literally that first day in class, call yourself an actor. And so I did. I was an actor. I was told to. So yeah, it was a way for me to make sense of the world through this acting lens. And aren't all actors wishing and hoping and dreaming?
Well, it's one of those arts that you can't do by yourself. So yeah, you always are wanting to connect and, hoping to be the star of your own movie.
Yeah, when I was home visiting, and we were at like a pizza parlor, and was with my mom and my sister, and this guy from high school came up and was like, "Hi, how are you? What are you up to?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm living in New York. I'm an actor." And my mom turned to me and she said, "You're a temp."
You're a temp?
You're a temp.
Okay, well, we're not going to talk about your mom, even though I want to talk about your mom, but
I love my mom. She had some very good advice.
anything else?
There was static on the phone one night.
And what did that mean?
Now, isn't that a generic delusion?
Oh, you mean the FBI is listening?
Yeah. Static, paranoia.
Yeah, that's not quite as fun. Why would they be listening to you?
I don't know, but there was static on my phone. I couldn't get rid of it. So I called the Time Warner cable guy, and he came out to my apartment. He, put new covers on and hooked me up with a different wiring system and took off. And then there was no static on my phone. He got rid of it.
So did you think maybe no one was really listening? Maybe it was just a problem with the cable?
I did.
Okay.
But I think it was a problem with me. And he was just kind and came and switched out the cable.
Right. Does that still happen to you sometimes, where you have a flicker of a thought and you have to remind yourself like, oh, that might be a little delusional. I need to just make sure I stay on track here.
I do.
Hmm.
When I was younger, I didn't. I was like fully sane, and then a crash, and then fully sane. But now at this point in my life, there have been so many of those crashes that I have little things that come up, kind of like signs and symbols.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, there's a sign. And then I have to tell myself, okay, there are not signs. There may be signs in the universe, but I am not a person that can believe in signs in the universe. So I have to say that is not a sign. Let's keep going.
Because if I give in to that thought, it can open up a whole bunch of other problems and lead me down some weird roads.
Yep.
Is there a better word than illness? Dysfunction?
Mental health sounds so much better than mental illness. But it's an illness. I got to get down into the gritty part of it.
Right.
It's an illness.
But what's tough is it's an illness that is visible really only from the inside. No one can see it, but you're inside of the experience.
Yeah, I think people can see it, though.
You do?
It depends who you are. You can absolutely see mental illness on people. You can see that I have a tremor. I'm a little nervous.
Is the tremor a result of medication?
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually a side effect.
Side effects, yeah.
Yeah.
So, sure, you can't necessarily tell. But I think as you age, it shows up more on you and your body.
Yeah, but it also sounds like, and to go back to what I said earlier, that you have kind of made friends with it in a way. When you go like, okay, I think that's a sign, but I know better than that. I know to keep going and not get thrown off by that.
Yeah, I've had to learn that. I have had to learn. Yeah, definitely check in.